Now, when children are learning to read, they are solving mini puzzles one word at a time. And in phonics, we call this decoding. And doing this correctly involves two things. Let's say your child comes across the word cat for the first time. They must first identify the individual sounds in that word. And if they have been taught the sounds that these letters make, this is the easy part. We call this segmenting a word, the k, a, t. Now the second step is to blend those sounds together. Cat. A fluent reader will have decoded that word enough times that they eventually don't have to. And when they encounter it again and again, well, it'll just pop out of the page. In this case, the word cat has now become a sight word. Now they see it, they know it instantly. Now the more sight words you collect, the smoother and faster the reading. Makes perfect sense, right? Now, like I said earlier, if your child knows the letter sounds, the segmenting part is really the easiest part of this process. It's the blending that must be taught properly. Now, I say this because most professional teachers I've worked with complain about the same thing over and over again. My students can't blend. They're not getting it. Now, I've said the same things for years until I learned to do it right. And I'm going to share that with you today. Now, when you learn how to do this right, you will get results faster than you ever thought possible. Teaching your child to read never has to feel like rocket science. Let me prove this to you now. Now, let's start with blending single-syllable words. We're going to do this in 5 easy steps. This is also the most effective order to introduce these sounds. Now, to sort this out in a neat and orderly fashion, I will label these blends using something called a spelling formula, where the letter C represents a consonant sound and the letter V represents a vowel sound. So let's see this in action with our first blend type. In step 1, the CV blend. This is a consonant blended into a vowel. Now here are a few examples. Ka, ta, pi, ti, na, mi, fa. Enunciate and stretch the blend. Model it first. Ka, na. Now, some consonants can stretch and some can't. Well, these are the cards we've been dealt with in English, so we have to roll with it. And take note that we don't want anything to do with long vowel sounds at this moment. So we would not be sounding these VC blends as K, te, and pi, and so on. Now, long vowels will be addressed soon enough. Don't worry about it. Now, in step 2, we reverse the order with VC blends, the vowel into the consonant. And these include at, it, up, an, if. Remember to stretch. At, if. Now, with steps 1 and 2, we are still blending short vowel sounds. So with step 1, this is merely a blending exercise. But look what happens with step 2. They are blending their first real words. Now, how exciting is that? Even at this step, you can grab any book off the shelf and your child will be able to spot any of those words right on the printed page. Now, how's that for proving the practical value of blending? Now, if that wasn't exciting enough, step 3 will open the floodgates with CVC blends. Now, as the formula implies, we are blending one consonant sound into a vowel sound and ending with a final consonant sound. Now, this blend produces super simple one-syllable words that build confidence fast and will help you plan out which letter sounds we teach next. Now, let's come back to that word cat. I love cats. The k, a, t. This is really a combination of 2 blends, 1 and 2 together. Now, the front part, the ka, this is a simple CV blend, and they can blend the back end as well. The at, the VC blend. Now, the VC blend is where the magic really happens, and I'll tell you why. 90% of reading programs will ignore the powerful leverage we get from the VC blend. Now, it's like the moment they learn the CVC blend, the VC blend seems to take a back seat. So let me illustrate. At this point, they can effortlessly blend the at in cat. This is your VC blend. Now, why would we take a step back and blend the word cat again as 3 separate letters when we can chunk the at together and just blend the word k, at? Now, the at part is what we call a word family, and word families are one of the most powerful tools in phonics. This means we no longer have to learn words in isolation, and this allows children to see patterns in spelling that will speed up the process faster than you ever thought possible. Now, for instance, once they learn the letter sounds for H, M, P, F, and R, all we do is keep the word family at where it is and just swap out the first letter. Now we get at, mat, pat, fat, rat, and so on. Now, many teachers waste a precious resource when they label C's and V's in our blending formula as letters. Now, this is why you often hear a CVC word expressed as a three-letter word. This has serious limitations, and it's essentially throwing away another very powerful tool in phonics. See, when the C's and V's represent sounds instead of letters, this allows us not only to move forward with long vowel sounds, but it also helps us plan out which version of that long vowel sound we teach first. For instance, here are 11 ways to pronounce the long vowel A sound. Wow, that is really messed up. I mean, where do we even start? But sticking with the CVC spelling formula will help us decide. The only CVC word on that whole list is the word paid. The choice is clear. We introduce our first long vowel A sound with the two-letter combination AI. Now, when two letters are paired together to make one sound, we call this a digraph. Now, see how it looks when it's applied to the formula. Paid. You see, we have one consonant sound, one vowel sound despite being two letters, and one consonant sound. Now, you might be thinking, why aren't we learning the long vowel A sound with the letter A on its own? Now, shouldn't we do that first? These are excellent questions. Now, we have a choice to make. CVC is one of the easiest blends to master, and we want children to feel confident every step of the way. So while introducing a digraph seems a little early at this point, it's not hard to remember a couple letters teaming up together, and it's easiest to capture it in the CVC blend, a blend that they have already mastered. Now, if we insist on using a single letter A, we break away from the CVC blend too soon and have to introduce influences that syllables have on words. Now, trying to force a word like apron is very counterintuitive at this point, because now we have to talk about open-ended syllables and the PR consonant blend in pr, apron. And we haven't covered that yet. Learning that A and I together can make the long vowel A sound doesn't seem so complicated now, does it? Now, we have to teach digraphs sooner or later, so why not teach as many as we can within the confines of our CVC formula? Now, here are a few examples. Check out these consonant digraphs. The SH in ship, the TH and CK, we got two of them, in thick, the CH in chop. Now, every one of these is still a simple CVC word. Now, you remember how we chunked the word family at in cat and swapped out the first letters to produce 5 new words? Hat, rat, mat, and so on. When 3 letters are grouped together to make one sound, we call this a trigraph. Now let's create a simple word family by adding the letter T to the IGH trigraph. This is still a very simple VC blend, the I-T. Now push them together as we did with AT in cat and start swapping out the first letters. Fight, light, night, tight, right. The CVC blend took us pretty far, didn't it? Especially when those C's and V's represented sounds. Now, with this said, the CVC training wheels have to come off sooner or later, and this brings us to a blend that may be a little more challenging for some, but certainly not impossible. This is step 4. We call this the consonant blend. Consonant blends are generally introduced with the front end blend first. For example, words like flat, snap, brat, smack, stop. Now, as a spelling formula, you would see them represented as CCVC. 2 consonants up front, producing 2 distinct sounds, blended one into the other before hitting that first vowel sound. Now, the more distinct the consonant sounds from each other, the easier the blend. The SN in snap, for instance, snap. The SM in smack, the ST in stop. Any letter S combo is a great place to start. Anything paired with an R takes some getting used to. A word like brat, for instance, can sound a little muddy. Now with consonant blends, take your time and enunciate. Exaggerate the blend and model it as a point of reference. Now after all, you've already mastered all this. Then we move to the CVCC blend, where the consonant blend is at the end of words like milk, bump, melt, and of course the ST being super popular with words like best, rest, test, fast, and last. Now those are pretty straightforward. Remember that some combinations can be a little tricky at first, but again, grouping them together will help your child recognize the pattern when they encounter similar words. Now one that comes to mind is the way the N behaves when you pair it up with a K, producing a ng sound in words like thank, bank, sink, and think. Now we move to the double-ended blend, CCVCC. This is getting long, but one in front and one on the back. Words like blink, blast, stomp. Now, just when you thought it was over, we can't forget the triple blend in words like splash, strap, spring, and scrap. Now, the triple consonant blend is not as popular at the end of words, but they're out there. For instance, ordinal words like 12th and 15th. These are difficult at first. Now, you'll encounter it more when your child starts reading words made plural by adding the S, like pants and crafts. Now, in step 5, this final blend is super simple, but it involves teaching your child the split digraph spelling and how it is commonly referred to as magic E. Now, this spelling formula introduces a lowercase e at the end to indicate that it is silent. So we got C, V, C, and little e. Now, there are 2 common ways to teach this blend, and both work well. The first is to blend words with similar ending sounds, like we did with word families earlier. For instance, maid, shade, or gate, mate, and game, and same. Long vowel I sounds, like words like, bike, and hike. You get the idea. Now, the other way is to show your child the influence that magic E plays in changing the pronunciation and meaning of simple CVC words. Now, here are a few examples. Hat becomes hate, cub, cube, man, main, can, cane, pin, pine, cap, and cape. Now, when we are dealing with words with more than one syllable, we need to revisit the first part of that decoding process. Again, this involves the influence that syllables have on pronunciation and how the word is broken down before we can attempt to blend it together. Now, this will require a separate video, and when this is ready, I'll add a link to it in the description below. Until then, let's remember the sequence. In step 1, we have CV blends, the consonants into vowels, the ka, ta, pe, and ti. In step 2, we had the VC blends, vowels into consonants, the at, it, up, and on. We were reading real words at that point. Step 3, CVC blends, the consonant, vowel, consonant, like hat, map, light, and so on. Now, step 4 stepped it up a notch with consonant blends, 2 or 3 distinct consonant sounds blending brat, blink, stomp, and pants. And step 5 was the magic E blends, maid, fade, bike, and hike. So where do we go from here? As you have seen firsthand, teaching a child to read properly is a series of steps that require careful planning and forethought. Now, parents and teachers spend hours on YouTube trying to figure this out, and all I ever see are the same videos teaching letter sounds over and over again. What's the point? It's like memorizing notes on a keyboard and expecting songs to magically appear from your fingers. There's no context. Nothing is really put together. Without a solid game plan, some structure at least, you're running in circles and your child is no further ahead. You deserve better. And reading is too important. It has to be simple, and by God, it has to be fun to teach. It's an essential life skill your child needs to embrace and appreciate sooner than later. Now, how would you like to work with a reading program that cuts through all the noise and guides you every step of the way? No guesswork, no scripted lessons telling you what to say word for word. How boring is that? Just simple, easy to teach lessons, 5 to 10 minutes a day, that will have your child reading 2 grade levels higher within weeks. Yes, it's possible, it's real, and I'm here to help you every step of the way. Check out the link in the description. Your success story is practically written in stone. Stay wonderful, and I'll see you next time.